Okay, so firstly, can you quickly do from 1 to 5 for me, Tâm? 1 to 5.
1B.
1B.
Two
And
C.
2C. All right, there's 3.
3C.
C. 4 is
C2.
C. Okay, 5.
Wait a minute. 5A.
A. All right, and let's check. 1B, 2C, A. All right, very good. There's one thing I want to notice, that I noticed, which is this field of knowledge. How did you come about this one?
I wrote an equation that 5x plus 5 equal to 7x
Plus 5 equals
minus
7x minus 35. All right. So there's this definition, there's this knowledge that if two angles that are opposing each other, they will share the same measure, right? So if A and B, no, not this one. If A and B, they are opposing each other, they will share the same measure, right? So these will be equal. So that's just one thing I want to note. It's fairly simple, the rest of it. Okay, from 6 to 10, Lina.
6C.
6C, all right. 7 is
D.
7B.
D.
D, all right. 8.
D.
D.
9B.
B. 10 is
10C.
okay, 10C. All right, let's check. 6C, 7D, 8D, 9B, 10C. Right, very good. Let's see. Okay, so this is fairly simple, so I don't find that there's anything that's tricky here. All right. Oh, so can you quickly, briefly remind me how does fx minus 2 shift the equation?
Because A equal to x plus 2, so the graph will be will go up 2 units.
All right, go up to units and this one.
And it also mentioned that the intercept of the equal fx is 0 minus 12. Therefore, the solution will be minus 2 plus 2 equal to minus 10.
Exactly. All right, so if I am to subtract this one without this one, if I subtract 2, how would the graph shift?
The graph will go down 2 units.
All right, it would go down 2 units. And how about fx plus 2?
It will go left 2 units.
Okay, go to left 2 unit, exactly. How about the opposite? It will be obviously the opposite, right? So very good. This is graph manipulation, and I expect you guys to have it memorized already. Next up is from 11 to 15. All right, so I can see that Han is not going to be able to make it today, so there's just 3 of us. All right, 11 to 15. You do it again.
11 A.
11A,
12A.
12A,
13A.
13A,
14D
14D.
and 15D.
All right, D. Let's see. 11, 11A, A, D, D. There's one problem here. 14 is B. Let's see. In the system equation, K is constant. The system has exactly one solution. Which of the following should be the value of K? All right, so exactly one solution. So, because they only have one solution, I would assume that A. All right. Let me just briefly remind you guys of this field, this topic of the system of equation. If I am to put the system of equation as ax plus by equals c, and a comma x plus b comma y equals c comma, it will result in three scenarios. Firstly, they will have exactly one solution, which is a pair of solution x, y, because remember this is a system of equation, so it will only have pairs. They won't have like a single solution, a solo solution. Okay. Firstly is a over a comma equals b over b comma, and equals c over c comma. When it happens, basically these two equations, they will have infinite amount of solutions, which means that if I am to represent as d and this as delta, these two lines will be on top of each other. Okay, they will share the same solution because they are on top of each other. And if this is to be a over a comma equals b over b comma, different to c over c comma, this will result in two parallel lines. Okay, d and delta, they'll be parallel to each other. And when it comes to exactly one solution, it will be a over a comma different to b over b comma different to c over c comma. So as you can see that a, b, and c, they are the coefficients of the x and y. Okay, a is a coefficient, b and c, they are also a coefficient. So in this case, 5 is a coefficient. They just scrub them up a bit, moving around a bit. So let's see, 5 over 3 will be different to 2 over k, right? So I would say, oh, no, this one. You only need a over a comma different to b over b comma, all right? You don't need different to c over c comma. You only need this a requirement. So you're gonna have to move them about, and you're gonna have minus 2x plus y minus kx plus y equals 3 equals 5. So in this case, you will not be able to choose 2 because it will result in minus 2 over minus 2 equals 1 over 1, which in this case mean they will have a two parallel line, not one solution. Okay, one solution means two of these equation, they intersect at one point. Remember these kinds of knowledge I'm mentioning to you because it will come in handy later if you are to encounter a different phrasing kind of question. Okay, so in this case, 2, you can only use 2. B, right? Why did you choose D though?
I thought I type in the computer without yeah.
Oh, so you typed it, you used the computer calculator. Yeah. Oh, that's another way, but just remember to type in carefully because these kind of mistakes are very kind of wasteful, right? very good. Let's see. This is 15 equation. The 15 question is very good on your end because I haven't mentioned this field yet, as of yet. This is the growth factor. Right, this is the growth factor, right? If they are to say that what is the growth factor? 100, 1.11 to the power of t. 100 is the initial value. 1.11 is the growth factor. And t is the time or repetition. Okay, remember these, have them memorized because they will likely to ask you about this. And I will kind of, yeah, after we finish this homework, walking through the homework, I will kind of walk you through the SAT Bluebook. So we'll re-mention it. We'll come back to this. Next up is 16 to 20. It's your turn, Lina.
16, 3.
It's 3. 17 is
50.
50. 18.
9.
9.
19, 6.
6. And
20.
24. All right. Let's check a bit, shall we? 3, 50, 9, 6, 4. Very good. Brilliant. You're very. And this one, I just gonna briefly remind you about the kind of exponential rule, about the exponentials. Okay. So when you encounter an exponential, remember to convert them into, if you encounter this kind of complex exponential, remember to simplify them by turning square root into the denominator and turning the power into the numerator. For example, this will become 3/2 times a, right? So this will be quite easier to visualize, right? This will be x to the power of 6. So 3/2a equals 6. This will be 4. All right. Just a quick reminder. Okay. This is the interesting part because I find the fourth section on both May International and May US exam, they're quite difficult. And if you are to score it, to do them all correctly, it's pretty amazing. All right, but I didn't give you the full homework, so I can't really grade you guys. But try to walk through one by one. I only highlight the questions that worth mentioning. All right, it doesn't mean that you don't have to do the other question. For example, I gave out to you hang on a sec. Question 1, 4, 5, 7, 8 doesn't mean that you don't do 2 or 3. It's just because I don't think it's worth of time. Okay. If you have time in your hands, don't be lazy and just do them all. Right. You don't have to be too obedient all the time. And by doing everything, regardless, because if I say do May US or May International, you have full rights to complete the 2 tests without any restriction, because these are the kind of question that I would fix in the next session. That's why I highlight them for you. It's not that I don't recommend you guys do anything else. Okay, so if you guys have time, I recommend you do it all. If you don't, which I would suggest that you do because the SAT is nearing, and just try to focus on fixing the errors around and kind of do even the simplest of questions. Try to do them under 10 seconds, right? Because I find that you guys are very good, very accurate, but when it comes to time restriction, you guys just lag behind. Okay, and this is the one of the problems that we're going to try to solve for the next weeks, because you guys have done so brilliantly on the math section already. Okay, next up is 1, 1 and 4. 1 and 4. Dump, can you do it for me?
1A.
1A. Let's see. It takes 6 hours to travel m miles. I just read how much time in hours will it take to travel 5 m miles. So this is, why did I circle this? Why did I choose this question? Because it has to do with conversion. And I want to remind you guys of the conversion method, which is the cross multiplication. If you encounter a very difficult question, just cross multiply for me, right? Cross multiply and divide it in a horizontal. 5 times 6 divided by m will be a 30. Okay, 4.
4C.
C, let's see. Closest January 16 months, which is this one. And okay, very good. Just a reading graph. I find that thumb weakness is on graph like a month ago, but you've done quite decently lately, so good job. And 6, I haven't given out, so 5. Wait. Oh no. I give out 6. I did give out 6. 6 is 6 and 7 to 13. 6 and 7. Sorry. Lina, can you do it for me?
6C.
6C. All right. How did you come about C?
From 1 to 20, there are 6 numbers that multiply of 3, and the general will be the number will be 20, and I divide and I will take 5 divided by 20, or 6 divided by 20.
6. All right. 6 divided by 20. So this is just the largest population, which is 20 numbers, whole numbers, because they have 20. So you put that in the denominator, and 6 is the amount of number that you're choosing that satisfies the equation, right? So you put 6 over 20. Very good. Okay, 6C and 7.
7D.
Sorry, 7D. Hang on a sec. 7D. All right, good. What is the range? It is 5 trench depths. You just subtract. How do you calculate the range?
Or the mass depth minus the mean.
Exactly. Don't plus 1, all right? Because if you plus 1, it will be the amount of numbers, not the range. Okay, range is only max minus min. Very good. Next up is 8 and 9. Thumb, can you do it for me?
H. AC.
8 is C. Let's see. What was your answer? How about you, Lina? Did you have 8 as C?
AC.
Okay, let's check. All right. The relative yield corn represented expressed as a percent, and soil pH were recorded for 5 samples. The relative yield of corn reached a maximum when the soil had this one 6.8. So firstly, we have 6.8. You will have the maximum amount of the yield would be maximum, and the decrease of soil increase, and then decreased as the pH increased. So it will have the shape like this. Reach the maximum, and then it decreases. All right, so this is 100. So let's check. 5 sample relative yield of corn at 6.8. 6.8. So I think there's just one answer is C is 6.8. So a bit easier than I expected. Okay, very good, you two. Just remember the dots are the data, and if they were to add this line, it will be called a line of best fit. Okay, so if this is a line of best fit, For example, this one will be a line of best fit. Okay, if I draw a line like this, these data will be underestimated, and these data will be overestimated. Okay, why is that? Because the line of best fit is essentially a way for scientists to summarize the data, the trend of the data, to kind of plot them into a graph so that they can observe the trend in long term. But by doing so, they are generalizing a bunch of data in order to form a kind of graph. For example, in this case, they merging these data into one line, but by doing so, they will reduce the accuracy. Okay, the accuracy will be either the actual data will either be overestimated or underestimated. This is under because the line predicts it will be like this, and the actual value is higher. So the line underestimates. And in this case, the line is of higher value and the actual data is of lower. So this is overestimated. So don't get mistaken between the line of best fit, okay? I think you guys will encounter some questions like this later on, but let's continue. Question 9, Dam. What's your answer?
D.
Let's see. Each year, the value of the car 8% less than previous year. Exponentially. Okay, if I am to say linear. Wait. Oh no, they already mentioned this. Okay, so if I am to say linear, it would be like this: $800 more, or $800 less. But when it comes to exponential, it will be exponential means the multiplication. Okay, the multiplication, and linear will be addition or subtraction. So this will be multiplication or division, and this one will be addition or subtraction. In this case, you can see that 8%, meaning that you multiply 8% to the value to, for example, 8%, that is exponential. And when it comes to linear, you subtract and add. All right, very good. Let's see. To 13 also. You continue to do it, Dam. Question 10.
B.
10B. Let's see. The daily high, which of the following? I'm just going to resort to reading the last sentence. Which of the following is closest to median of the high temperature? Okay, the median is quite simple. This will be 40 something, 42. Okay, it's very simple. 11 to 13 is your turn, Lena.
11D.
11D. Okay, this is very simple. So 12.
A.
12A. 13.
C.
13C. So you have these two coordinates. So you plug them in x plus y equals y equals ax plus b. Okay, just plug them in a system of equation and you're gonna have c. But this one, remember how to calculate, because it will come in handy. How to use the calculator, okay? Because try your best to memorize the keyboard, to memorize the numbers on your calculator, because it will save you a lot of time. Sometimes I just type them and without even looking at the keyboard, and that would be a big help when it comes to the SAT, because there are only a handful of questions that are going to be able to be answered by calculator, but they would take us sometimes if we aren't used to it. Okay, so in retrospect, try your best to familiarize yourself with your own calculator. Do not bring anyone else's calculator, because firstly, they will not, you don't know if they're compatible with the SAT or not. Most likely Casio, Vinacal, or not Vinacal, Casio calculators, as I remember correctly, they will be permitted on the SAT. And yeah, the only kinds that aren't permitted will be the kinds that smart calculator or something like that. But you should have a brief image of which kind of calculator is allowed on the SAT, because if you can't bring your calculator in, you are going to have to use the built-in Desmos calculator, which is quite dysfunctional. Right, 13 is that. Okay, next is, let's see, let me just type it in the machine so that I won't have to look this every time. Copy. Let me just type in the chat. Okay, that's better. 8. 14 to 30. 14 to 30. All right. 14 is a good question. Let's see. Lina, you do it also.
14A.
14A. Let's see. How did you come about A?
They asked about the inequalities of the value D and R. So they also mentioned that the total of D and R must more than half of the 13. Therefore, it comes to A.
Okay, very good. The point is to look for the kind of information that you should be looking for. There are so many information up here, right? Excessive, to say the least. They aren't necessary, but that's why I'm asking you. I'm suggesting you to read from above, from below, from bottom up. Okay, so A is the correct answer. Next is 15. Exactly one solution. All right, 15. Is your turn. When will it have exactly one solution?
C.
C. Why C?
Because the delta with apostrophes and delta is one -1 square minus
1 squared minus
minus C equal to 0.
equals 0. So you get C is 1, right? So remember the delta, different delta values. Delta apostrophe or delta, normal delta, they will do, because on the SAT, in America, they don't really use this equation, because when I learn for the SAT, I find many different sources online, but they know where they talk about the apostrophe. I may be wrong, I might not have looked hard enough, but it's not the kind of question, the kind of way that most people would do. So if you don't happen to remember the apostrophe, which is very simple to memorize, you can always do the normal delta. But either way, it's good. I want you guys to focus, especially Vietnamese, to focus on doing the maths in English. All right. So instead of thinking like in Vietnamese, you would say that, well, how would I do this? Sometimes just have a conversation with yourself, because I can't possibly cover every single vocabulary on the SAT. And when it comes to the SAT, the only disadvantage of you guys is the fact that you guys don't know every definition, right? I try to cover as much as I can, but it has to come in your own effort to learn everything there is, right? So next time when you see on the reading section is different, because on the reading section, when you encounter a word you don't know, you can always skip that. But when you encounter even one word on the Maths SAT, I want you to relearn the concept that you in which contain the word. All right. So if you find only one word, meaning that you haven't understood it hard enough. So you can either ask me for the word or the respective field of knowledge, or you can look it up on Google. It's very good. It's very clear because Google in English is very easy to look. But anyway, you need to do everything in English in order to have a quick reflex, and in order, because not only is it on the SAT, the English will help you. Outside the SAT, you can always benefit from learning English. But inside the SAT, especially on the math section, you have to focus on doing it in English, whereas you will be quite wrong. Next up is 16. 16 Lina. All right, so did it. A. Great. Let's see which of the following. All right, this is very simple. It just this kind of questions require you to calculate as quickly as you can. Just get yourself familiar with this one. Try to subtract this to find the delta, to find the difference, and try to subtract this to find the difference of x over the distance difference of y. And if these are equal, this is a linear. Okay, very good. Right, next one will be for Lina. 17 to 20. 17 first.
17A.
17A. Let me just introduce one way to quickly do this one. You connect the farthest and the closest point on two ends. Right, you connect these 2 points together, and you're going to have a quite accurate line of best fit when it comes to linear. Okay, you can see that these are linear, and if you connect the last and the first dot, you have a brief kind of linear equation. You have a brief linear equation, and just remember to look for the axis, because it's not always going to be 0 starting from 0. They can always start from 6, they can always start from 10, they can always start from 1 even. So these will not be the y-intercept, right? Because look, this doesn't have the y and x axis here, but this one doesn't either. This one does. So you know that this is the y-intercept, right? But this one doesn't, because it is concatenated. So just be careful not. Right, good. 18 and 20. We haven't come to the difficult part yet, right? 18 and 20. 18 to 20, because there's a paired question. 18, 90. Basically 18.
18A.
18A. All right, it's very simple. A. 19.
19C.
C. 20.
20B.
B. 18A, C, and B. Very good. Next up will be 21 to 25. Dom, it's your turn. 21.
21B.
21B. Is it?
Oh no, C.
C. Okay, C. Very good. 21C. Great. 22.
Wait a minute. B.
22B. Okay, so how are you going to do this? Wait. Okay. How are you going to do the 22?
I just I saw that I see that C and D are wrong.
C and D are wrong. Why are they wrong?
Because the second inequality is I tried to log in, and it seemed that the number doesn't fit the region, so I just crossed them out.
Okay, you just cross them out because, oh, so you use plugging in. You just choose one point here on the graph or 2 points and you plug them in, right?
I plug a 0 into x and I choose.
So 0 into x, and that's not really how you're going to do it because you're going to have to plug in. Oh, so you plug in the 0 coordinate, all right? So that's also a way. Most people would plug in the center of the coordinate like you did, but there are 2 ways. Yeah, there are 3 ways of doing this. Firstly is plugging like you did, choosing one random coordinate either on or not off the equation, the inequality. 2 is to draw them. Basically, an inequality is an equality, but they have this inequality annotation in it. So if it's bigger, if y is larger, then you're going to choose the upper part and you cross out the latter, the down part. And if y is smaller, then you're going to choose the otherwise. You cross out the upper part and you choose the latter part. There's the third way, which is using the Desmos or the graphing calculator. On the US, they have been using this for as long as I can remember, as long as the graphing calculator come out. But in Vietnam, the graphing calculator is not as popular, so most likely you're not really familiar with it. I'm going to show you guys quickly Desmos, how to use the graphing calculator in terms of using inequality. Wait a minute. All right. So in this case, you're gonna have, for example, if y is bigger than 3, you can see it's like this. So how can you going to use bigger and or equal to, bigger than or equal to? You're going to just have to type in y bigger or smaller and equal, right? This number, I just type in like this, bigger, equal, right? This one is bigger to or equal, bigger / equal, right? It'll be like this. As you can see, if you have a dotted line, a dashed line, it means that this will be a greater. And if you have a whole line, it's not a dash, it's not a dot, it's just a whole line, it will be a greater or equal, okay? This one, let's quickly recap. Just if you have the dash here, it's quite difficult to see in your case. If you guys can't see it, just let me know. But if it has dashes, it means that it is not equal, okay? And if it doesn't, it means it is equal. How? Right, this one. It's quite difficult to see, but if you guys can, just tell me, okay? I will walk through the Desmos app very quickly. After we finish this, of course. All right, next one is 2023. Is still you done?
23 C.
C. Let's see. All right, very good. This is quite easy, so I'm not going to walk through it again. 24.
24 D.
D. Good. 25 is
D.
D. 25 D. Let's see. So when you choose, this is a probability question. Was it?
I'm sorry, I choose B.
Right,
I didn't
B.
read the questions carefully.
Okay, so let's redo it a bit. Why did you choose B? How did you choose B?
Because it say if a triangle is selected at random, so I have the sum of 7 plus 5 equal 12, and the probability of the to pick a red triangle, I took the number of red triangle over 12, the sum. So
Over the total, exactly, very good. The point of using probability is just dividing the select by the whole sample, right? Dividing the selection by the whole sample. So the selection is 5 and divided by the whole sample is 12, the total. Good, very good. Next up, 26 to 30, it's Lina. 26.
26C.
26C. Okay, good. 27.
27A.
27A. What's the value of B? How did you choose A?
I see in the graph that the x-intercept is 2 points that -3 and 1.
And this one is?
So B will be B. B will be 3.
3. Great. This is a factored form. Remember, if they ever ask you to choose an equation that that isolates the solution as constant or coefficient. This means that they're asking for the solution to come out to appear itself here. You can see that 1 and -3 is of appearance here. And if they ask for the vertex or the max or the min of the graph, it means that they're asking for the vertex form. And if there's no specific requirement, it means they're asking for the standard form of quadratic equation. So remember these question, all right? Isolate the blank as constant or coefficient. The word here is constant or coefficient. And they're asking for it. Great. Next is 28. 28, how about it?
8D.
D, great, very good. 29.
29B.
B, solution, quite easy. And 30.
30D.
D, all right, 30D. Wait, let's see. Each of the 3 data set represented by 3 dots has 15 values. Oh, the median. The median, you just only have to calculate quite easily. What is the median of A? Do you still have it?
Mm. 4.5.
4.5. Wait, let's see. So you have 15. So the median is what number?
4.5.
15. 15, there are 15 values is, so the median will be number 15 plus 1 divided by 2 is 8. Right, 16 divided by 2 is 8. The 8th number is the median. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 5. Right? How did you come about 4.5?
I got some mistake. I forgot the mean and median.
Oh, so you calculated the average, right? All right. So how about B?
The median also 8. Oh, no.
The eighth number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's also 5. And C is
Also 5.
also 5 because they share the same amount of values. So D. Very good. The mean, the median, they're very easy to get mistaken, to be honest. I myself get mistaken all the time. So remember this, mean in English. Do you understand what mean in English means, Lina?
The average.
The average, this is in maths, but in like literature, what does it mean? It means evil, right? Do you know this word?
Yes.
Mean means evil in sometimes in literature. It also means the definition of. So like the definition of, you can see that the word mean is also used as the definition. But I want you to focus on this evil. So why do I say it? The mean is evil? Because it requires you to calculate. This is how I use. This is the trick that I use to combat the forgetting of mean and median, right? So mean means evil, and evil because it makes us calculate the average. The only thing that you require to calculate is the mean, not the median, not the range. The range is also calculatable, but it's quite easy, max minus min. So the only thing that's difficult here is the mean. This is the most complicated thing. So I say it means evil because it makes me calculate something. So that's evil, right? That's how I do it. So if you have another way, it's cool, but this is just how I do it, and it might help you. Right, next one is, oh, it's 30 already. Great, very good. Let's see what else we have here. 37. 37. How about it? Oh, 37. Have you known how to do this, Thumb? You figured it out?
Yes, I do.
How did you do it?
Let me. So, I calculate and somehow I found that the I don't know how to say it in English.
All right, so let me just explain it to see if you did it the same way. This is how I do it because I find the x to have the same in every single term, meaning that in a sum, you have first term, second term, third term, and in every single term you have x's. Yeah, you have x's. So it means that it shared the same solution. So, you know, if one equation has x in every single term, the very first solution that comes into your mind is x equals, do you know what? X equals 0, right? So you're going to factor out x. In this case, I'm factoring out x squared because these all shared x squared. X squared out 3x squared minus 8x minus 3. Is it minus 3? Yeah, minus 3. Minus 3. All right, I have x squared, this, and you can see fx times gx. Right, this is the time multiplication in an equation. If you multiply two values, it will use this the x. But if you multiply the equations, they will use the dot. That's why I'm not suggesting you to use the x in the SAT, because you can get mistaken with the dot in this case with two different equations, right? Two different functions, I'm sorry. So you have, how can you find the value of b? You have to find the value of x, fx first, right? So how do you going to find it? You divide by gx. Divide by 3x squared minus 9x. But firstly, can you tell me the answer to 37? Done.
Is 1/3 or a
1/3.
third?
Okay, 1/3. How about you, Lina?
1/3.
Okay, 1/3. Let's check if it's correct, right? So you can see that these share the same x. So I'm going to divide them by x. X, 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 divided by 3x minus 9. So this is a bit easier to do because I find it easier to do because it has less of x's. So I'm going to have x times 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 divided by 3x minus 9. This is the key of the solution. You have to divide the equation by another equation, a function by another function. This is how you're going to do it. Firstly, you find that there's a shared coefficient here is 3, but moreover, you can find that how can you multiply the 3x to, how can you turn the 3x into 3x squared, right? You multiply by x. So you have 3x squared minus 9x, right? This is what you're going to end up with. And in this case, I'm going to subtract this. I'm going to have 0 here. I'm going to have x plus x minus 3. And I'm going to continue to divide to this one so that I will completely eliminate the remainders. Right? So x divided by 3x equals 1/3. So you just multiply again, 1/3 to 3x equals x, and 1/3 to minus 9 equals minus 3. So there's no remainders. The answer is x plus 1/3. So you get x times 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 over 3x minus 9 x plus 1/3. Okay, as you can see that I have divided by x. So there's no x squared here, but instead x plus 1/3. There's no x squared, there's no x as a coefficient to 1/3. So the answer is 1/3 because this is the only remainder of this one. Because remember, I divided by x, so there's no x anymore. So there's only 1/3, right? So firstly, what I did, this is optional. You can always just divide 3x x to the power of 4 minus 8 x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared divided by g as a whole. But in my case, I wanted to be a bit quicker, so I just eliminated the x on two terms, on the two denominator and the numerator. So it would be a bit easier to calculate. And I ended up with 3x minus 9 times x plus 1/3, right? So this is very basic, but you have to encounter it before. Try to do this as many times as you can, because this is rarely seen on the SAT, but sometimes it does. Sometimes the students will cry out loud because they don't expect this to be to have on the SAT. So don't be caught off guard when this comes up, right? Remember to learn how to divide a function by another function. Okay, good. So 1/3 is correct. Next up is, we only have 30 minutes left. I fear that we don't have too much time. Oh, May International, we only have to do section 4. Great. May International, section 4. One, 4, 5, 7. 1, firstly, can you do 1 for me? Continue them. 1, 4, 5.
1D.
Hang on a sec. 1D, correct. 4,
4A.
4A, and 5 is
5B.
5B. Very good. Next up is 7, 8, 10, 11. It's your turn, Lina. 7 is
7A.
7A. 8 is
8A.
A. All right. Send, remember, conversion. And 10. 10 is
D.
10D. Great. 11.
11C.
Good. All right. Next up, 12 to 16. Tâm.
12D.
Good. It's very, very common, right? 12D. 13.
30C.
13C. Let's see. Oh, so this kind of question is often comes up on the SAT, is that they give out to a linear function. This is a linear function, and they give out an exponential function. So sometimes they ask for the interception. When they ask for the interception, that means that they're asking for these 2 points or 1 point if the equation is like this, or if the equation is like this. Yeah. So there are three possible ways of the relationship between exponential and linear functions. Firstly, they intersect at 2 points. Secondly, they intersect at 1 point. And thirdly, they intersect at 0 point. Okay. There's one particular question that there's one very difficult question that I counter on the SAT, but I just forgot where it is. Let me just find it later, and I'll give you guys as a just fun test. Okay. Next up, 15.
15B.
15B. Great. 16 is
16A.
A. But before I forgot 14. 14 is
14B.
14B. Let's see. One type C item will be selected at random. So this will be the largest population. So 48. Very good. 48. And will be category 3. 19 over 48. Very good. B. Okay. Great. 19 to 21. Lina?
19B.
19B. The range of data set A is greater than the range D. All right. The median. Oh, this makes more sense. The median is this one, right? But the range is stay the same. So D. A is greater than B. All right. 20.
26B.
How did you come about B?
I
Yeah,
divide 2 4 times.
So this is how I'd like to do it. I just write them down because although I can just divide to 4 times, but sometimes it can get very tricky. I just gonna have to draw them out. 64 teams play between 2 teams. Each team play 1 game in the first round. For all rounds, the winning team of each game advances to play a game in the next round. Each game is played by 2 teams. So this will be played by 48 versus 48. No, it's not 48. 64 is 32 versus 32. And for all round, the winning team of each game, fourth round. Let's see. 32 divided by 2 again. So 16. 16 versus 16. Oh, this will be eliminated. And 16 divided by 2 again is 8 versus 8. 8. And after this, you have 4 versus 4. All right. This I just do it, just funny for me, because I find it easier to do this way. Sometimes, look, remain. How many teams remain to play in the fourth round? All right. So the remaining to play on the fourth round is the team that the teams that take part on the fourth round, not the team resulting from the fourth round. Okay, so it's not 16 because this will be the team that remain on the fourth from the third round. Okay, when a team remain from the fourth round, it means that the other half is eliminated. That's why it remains. Okay, so the fourth round is the first, the second, the third, and the fourth, the quarter, the fourth part. And if they ask for the remaining, it means that the half of what they came for. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay, so it's B. Very good. It's very convoluted. It's very complicated when I sound it out, when I say it, but it makes sense once you write it down. So 21, how about it? You know, so 21A for certain aircraft, Newton. Okay, just simple conversion, nothing too serious here. 23 to 26. It's your turn, Dom.
23C.
3C.
Yeah.
Okay, great. 24.
24B.
Good. 25.
25A.
25A and 26.
26B.
Very good. Let's see, 24, you choose B. Great. Minimum data, very simple. These are just basic questions, so there's not much here to say. Okay, 28. You do it also, though?
28B.
28B. Proportion of strontium. Which of the following number 0.5 in the... Oh, the proportion. Very good. The proportion means that the percentage, okay, it's the same thing. Sometimes it's the same thing, but the proportion means that it's the division or the proportion. It comes to division, and when it comes to growth factor, it means multiplication. But when it comes to the exponential, there are two ways, remember. Firstly is growth, exponentially grow, or exponential decay. This is the multiplication and this is the division. So yeah, proportion and growth factor. Remember these definition. Great, very good. 35 to 37. Okay, it's Lena's turn. 35.
35, 40.
35 is 40. What's the value of B? 40. How did you come about 40?
The large population is 10, and the classification that have 11 or more elements 4 and therefore 4 divided by 10.
4 divided by 10.
Multiply 1%, 100%.
Right, 4 divided by 10 multiplied 100% equals 40%. Let's see, the percentage of 10 classification that have 11 or more elements. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's 10. All right, very good, 40%. 36.
36, 59.
59. It is an element, it's the ratio of non-metal. How did you do it? This is quite difficult. How did you do it?
So, wait a minute. Oh, the total of the number of non-metal elements is 6 plus 7 plus 7.
Very good. Very good.
And the total of all elements is 7 plus 7.
Total of what?
The total of all elements is 7 plus 7.
Is 7 plus 7. The all element is 7 plus 7. And non-metal is 6 plus 7 plus 7.
No, the all elements is the total of 7 is 7 plus 7 plus 6
Plus
plus
6.
7 plus 7.
Oh, you just have to say that's the sum of everything, okay? So it means that the non-metal is classified as halogen, noble gas, or other non-metal. So there are only 3 categories here. Firstly is halogen. Halogen is 6, and noble gas is 7, and other non-metal is 7. So this is what you resulted in. And the ratio of all elements is you're just going to have to sum everything, okay? Just plus everything in, and you get 10 to something, and it is, let's see, 7 plus 59. Very good. Okay. 38. 37 is interesting. Why didn't I give 37? Oh, 37 I did give. What is 37, Lina?
47, 5.
5. Greatest average change in wind speed. How did you calculate 5? What values did you pick?
I have calculated the sum of the differences between 2 points.
Some differences between 2 points, and
the solution is 5.
that's a new way. The line graph shows the wind speed recorded every 2 hours in town. X is, oh, I'm sorry. I thought they're talking about the delta, where X is the number of hours after midnight and Y is the wind speed in miles per hour. What is the greatest, this is just they're describing the graph. And let's see, what is the greatest average change in wind speed in miles per hour between 2 readings shown in the graph? Greatest change in wind speed. So you just hang on a sec. Let me just open my document. Wait a minute, just let me verify this because it doesn't have an entry in my document. 0.5. Okay, that's fine. Very good. Ooh, these kind of questions is very tricky. To be honest, this is one of the hardest SAT maths kind of test I encounter, because on the SAT it's normally is not this as difficult as this. Although it's not too difficult, it's just trippy, and it's very hard to do it within the time frame of, in this case, 55 minutes. It's not nearly enough time. It's the only kind of test that I took a bit more than 40 minutes to finish. Normally I just took 30 minutes to finish everything, and then I spent 20 minutes to kind of looking back and just trying to fix minor stuff. Fun fact, I found 2 errors on my SAT maths when I was taking it. That's why you can't be too confident on any of your answer. My 2 errors were within the first 20 questions, which are not at all challenging. So first 20 question of section 4. So it was very startling. I checked it over and over again, like 5 or 6 times. And how do I check it? I look at the very last sentence. Okay. I look at the very last sentence, see if they are tricking us in any way possible. So this is just how you're going to find out that, because the trick the SAT mainly gives is the last section, of the question. So it's very apparent there. Great. So we have just enough time to talk about the Bluebook app. Okay, so let me just change the subject real quick. The Bluebook app is from now on, you have to use it as many times as you possibly can, because it will be the software on which I can't show it. Okay, Tom, can you see my screen? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the College Board haven't blocked the screen sharing on this app. It's funny. Okay, so I'm going to click on the test preview. This will not have lockdown mode, which is when you enter the test, they will lock the entire computer down so that you won't be able to access the other apps or programs. Okay, so there's no lockdown mode, but just remember, you can't escape from the Bluebook app once you take the exam. Okay, you paid like $100 for it, so they're gonna have to do it. I'm gonna click next, and I'm choosing SAT. Hang on a sec. Remember to have a stable internet connection. So not a stable receiver. Okay, because on the practice test, you will not be guaranteed the connection, but on the real test, you have to connect to the testing center's data, because they will monitor your input and output. Okay, firstly, if you use a MacBook or any kind of Apple devices, there's this feature. Look, this is the feature of MacBook, and if you use it, please say just notify me, because you have to disable it. If just you unfortunately enable this feature, or actually this is enabled by default, and the SAT, the College Board knows that you're using this, which is against the rule. This is a dictionary. Your test will be disqualified. So if you have this feature, tell me so that I can guide you through how to disable it. All right. Firstly, let's go to the very first section, reading and writing. This is how they're going to, this is how you're going to see the SAT. Look at these lines. You can see that these are your ID. So don't you do anything that's illegal, that's not permitted on the SAT, because they would be able very easily track you down. And also don't read or don't share or don't do anything with the SAT material, because these are copyrighted. And as copyright, I mean that they require us to sign a letter of non-disclosure. Okay, this is what I did, and this is what they required me to do. They give out paper, and then you're going to have to sign in your name and that date, and sign in the affirmation that you won't share or disclose the information of the exam. Okay, that is called a non-disclosure agreement, and it is by law that you can't share this information. So just be careful. Do not let anyone else look at your exam, because it will also be considered as sharing. So a bit of walkthrough. Look, you can see there's a clock here, and there's an option to hide it, but I wouldn't suggest you to hide it. But if you are used to using the analog watch on your wrist, it's quite good, because it's good to just kind of estimate the amount of time you have left. But if you don't use the watch, you can use this. Remember, this is not counting, but it will start to count once you start the test. And you can choose the correct answer. This will allow you to cross out the incorrect answer that you think is incorrect. And once you cross them out, here's the thing: do not look at it ever again, because once you cross out means that you ignore the question entirely. Okay, so do not look at it again unless you are not sure. Then don't cross them out, because it's the point of crossing out, and it's the mentality of certainty that you have to practice on. Thirdly, do not ever use this function, annotate. This is just a function just mimicking the pen and paper, but do not use it, because it will waste you a bunch of time. And remember, time is money on the SAT. Okay, next up is the overview. This is your current position is, for example, I'm on question 1. I'm going to choose this, melodic, and this, and I'm going to mark this for review. And there's question 1, I'm here, question 3. Now I'm at question 4, and there's unanswered question here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 4 review. Okay, if you are not sure, again, let me repeat, if you're not sure about one single question, mark them for review and choose them at random. Choose the question that you find the most correct. Okay, if you find A and B can possibly be correct, just choose one, because if you don't have time, if you run out of time, you won't be able to just go back to your question. But don't leave anything blank, just mark for review. Okay, just to prevent you running out of time and you don't have time to circle anything, it will be a waste. All right, so do not leave anything unmarked, unchecked. Just mark them for review. Okay, if you're not sure about a question, mark them for review. Don't leave it blank. And after you just finish it, for example, like this, you will be greeted with an overview check page. And see, I can see that there's question number 3 that I haven't finished. Now I'm going to go back. Do not ever leave anything blank. As I mentioned, don't. Next, and once you finish, you're just going to have to click next, and they're going to give you a break on 10 minutes. They're going to give you a 10 minutes break. I don't think you can leave the testing room. Just listen to your proctor, and if he or she says that you can't leave the room, then do not leave. And if you need to go to the bathroom, just raise your hands and ask them for it. Remember, the proctors are very strict, and I will go into detail once you get you're near the examination. But just remember, the next up is the math section. On the break, on the practice test, there's an option to skip the break, and I do not encourage you to do that. You have to take the 10 minutes break, and you have to do it. Do not use your phone at all. Do not leave your phone elsewhere. And there's only you and the computer and a bit of snacks if you're hungry. You can eat within 10 minutes time frame. And of course, prepare yourself a bottle of water. You have to stay dehydrated throughout the test because it will boost your performance for like 10–40%, right? Your brain needs water for it to function correctly, so do not ever leave yourself thirsty. And before even starting a question, before even starting the test, try to have a sip of water first, and you'll find yourself a bit more prepared, right? Oh, of course, you can bring in your scrap paper if you like. It is permitted as long as it is white and completely blank in it, and you can bring the scrap paper in. You can bring your pen and eraser and a pencil sharpener, and of course the pencil and your ID and your scrap paper. Yeah, those are the things you can bring, and of course your computer. And you just, if you don't have a computer, request to borrow a computer from College Board, but tomorrow this is what you're going to go with. Yeah, of course, you can bring 2 calculators. As long as you are comfortable with it, you can bring it. But if you forget it, you can use the calculator here. But this is not a calculator, a normal calculator. It is a graphing calculator, just like Desmos, like we used before here, powered by Desmos. This is practically the same, right? Y bigger than or equal to 3. See, it's very much the same. Remember that this is the square root. This is how you're going to type in the square root. Slash SQRT, square root. Okay, square root 7, SQRT. SQRT. This is the short for square root. And if you want to type in pi, PI. Okay. Degree is just type. No, you don't need to type degree. There's no cases in which you're gonna have to type in degree. You just have to click on the calculator here, press on it, and it will appear. It will show up the Desmos interface, right? But I wouldn't suggest you to be over reliant on Desmos. Try to use your handheld calculator if you can, because it will save you a bunch of time. All right. Next up will be, this is multiple option, is pretty much the same with the reading part, but when the students responds, which is this part, it's very important that you know that this one, for example, 7/2, this is the fraction, right? Do not use mixed number, okay? 3 7/2, you're gonna have to turn into a fraction. Look, have a clear look at this. Okay, I think I'm going to screenshot this and I'm going to send it to the group. Well, I can't screenshot this. Let me just do it later. Yeah, and if you are to find that there's an infinite number rounding up to 5 characters, because there's this character limit, 5 characters, and on the digital SAT, there's a negative number, right? There's a negative number. So the 3 symbols you're allowed to use is firstly, negative symbol, the decimal place, and the division. Okay. So that's it. That's pretty much it. There's not much else. All right, about tomorrow, I would suggest you to take a full rest for tonight and go to sleep early. And you try to have a sip of water before you do any test. Okay. And just good luck. Don't try to do everything. That's the key. Don't try to do and make sure that everything is correct. Try to do as much as you can, right? Don't do everything, but just try to do as much as you can. If you can't do the 5th question, choose a random one, mark for review, and jump on to the next question. Don't overdo it, because you're going to waste a lot of time. Tomorrow will be very important to you guys, because it will reflective, and this is an official SAT test. I'm going to show you how you can take it. I forgot. here in case I forget. Let me just exit it. Remember to log in, and there will be a timer here. Look, this is an active. I tried it before. I'm going to click on this full length practice, click on it, and it will bring you selection, SAT, select the very first practice test, okay? Start over, because I have already done it, so start over, I'm going to start over, next, and it will give you the whole section, the entire thing, okay? So this will be the entry. All right, there's still no lockdown mode. Internet connection. Okay, here you can see this the full SAT suite. You can see the times ticking, and click, and mark, click, and cross out, and click. There, that's it. That's basically it. I save and exit. Here, but remember to finish them, and as soon as you get your result, send it to me and send it the full score report so that I can find and look at your full report and see which aspect you're going to need to improve on. Okay, that's basically it, and there's nothing else. Okay, do you guys have any other questions for today's lesson? All right, so if nothing else, I'm going to wish you best of luck for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys again soon. Okay, see you later.